NFL Week 12. We've got your Survivor picks here. This is the most in-depth, unique coverage on YouTube for Survivor pools. And we're going to take you all the way to the finish line, get you that cash. Coming up next. All right, guys, Week 12 in the NFL, and you are watching the best Survivor pool video, podcast, whatever you want to call it, over on YouTube. And, of course, brought to you by the Sharp app, which I've got right over here. You can just download a link. And now a lot of you guys had participated last week. I was giving a free subscription for 1 year to the Sharp app, and a ton of you commented. A lot of you guys have been subscribing to our channel, liking these videos, and it's really increased our presence on YouTube, and we appreciate that greatly. So as I always say, don't subscribe and don't like the video if you don't like it. But if you are getting anything out of it, then please do us a favor and go ahead and do that for us. So later on in this video, I'm going to let you guys know the winner. We're going to draw it randomly. We'll find out who won that free 1 year subscription to the Sharp app. And guys, if you did not win, I still encourage you to check out the Sharp app. Give it a shot, especially if you are a prop bettor. We've got the best prop tool in all of sports for prize picks and sleeper. Also, guys, if you sign up, if you do not have a prize picks account or a sleeper account, sign up and I'll be able to get you guys a free month or two of the Sharp app if you use our code for either prize picks or sleeper. So that's another way you can get the Sharp app for free and try it out. So hit me up in the comments if you are interested in that. I'll be able to get you the free code for that. So enough of the administrative stuff. We got a lot to get to today. We are in Week 12. Now, a lot of you, if you're watching this, hopefully are still alive. I know a lot of you are going to be watching this to see if you won the free subscription, and you may have been eliminated with Washington. We lost about 30% of the people with Washington last week. So it's getting down to the nitty-gritty in most of these pools. My pool, the only one that I'm left in, has been double picks for the last few weeks. It was double picks last week, and I was fortunate enough that I took Washington in week 1, so I didn't have them available to me. I wound up with Jacksonville and Houston, so I advanced. We started with over 8,000 in that pool. I'm one, me and a group of guys, we're one of 63 left in that pool, and it's a large pot. It's $600 some odd $1,000 pot. So really would be nice to hit. If we get to the top 10, 25% of the pot gets chopped up and divided amongst the top 10. So just getting to the top 10 would be really nice. And we've got an opportunity to do that this week. We're going to go over that. But for a lot of you guys, you're getting down to the nitty gritty in your pools, and you're going to start wanting to think about hedging. So I want to talk a little bit about hedging in this video as well. We'll get to that later on. Let's just dive right into Survivor Grid and see what we've got going on for this week. As you can see, the largest favorite on the board is going to be Dallas this week, but only 4.9% because most of you have taken Dallas already. If you have not taken Dallas, especially in small pools, but I think in all formats, this is just a great leverage play. You see the EV here on Survivor Grid. That's going to tell you what their EV calculation is, and that's based on how many people are taking that particular team and what the probability is of that team winning. And obviously Dallas being the largest probability of winning, yet being only taken in 5% of pools, you've got a lot of EV, or I like to say you've got high leverage on this play. So if you've held off on taking Dallas this far, great job getting here without using Dallas, but I don't know what else you would wait for other than this week, even in large format pools. I know you may want to take them next week, or possibly as an option in week 18. But I think this is the time you're going to want to take them. High leverage spot in all pools, especially small ones. There's a good chance, small pool, 10 people left in your pool, you might be the only one with Dallas, which means you have the potential of winning your pool right here and now. So we're not saving Dallas. Miami, the next best choice on the board. Now, similar to Dallas, I'd love to just be able to fire away on Miami, but you may have the ability to hold off only because we have 1 week to go before Miami becomes a really strong play again, and they might be the best play on the board next week. So you have to weigh the options of what you've got left here next week and this week. So if your options this week are, let's say, like most people, either Tennessee or Minnesota, where most people are going, if those are your two best options, you've got to weigh whether, let's say, Tennessee is a better option than whoever your next best choice may be. Maybe it's Jacksonville, maybe it's Tampa, right? I still think Tampa or Jacksonville are going to be a better option than Minnesota or Tennessee will this week. So I like going ahead and firing away at Miami. Now, you're going to have them in week 14 as well as a good option against Tennessee, but you've got New Orleans, which you probably have not taken, and you can take them against Carolina at home. That looks like a good option. Now, Cincinnati, I think their lines are still off based on the fact that Burrow's out here, but Cincinnati against Indianapolis, probably not as strong a play as it would have been with Burrow, or definitely not as strong a play. Detroit at Chicago may be an option to you. So you're going to have some plays here in week 14, and we don't want to go too far out, but Miami again in week 15 is going to be strong. So you're going to have to look at your individual pool. New Orleans pops up again here. Cleveland against Chicago at home. Hey, look, it gets tough as we keep going, but you're going to have to make the determination, is this week's play of fading Miami worth it in week 13, 14, or 15, where you may take Miami? Do you have better options in those weeks? I can't make that determination for you. You're going to have to do that for yourself, but just know that you've got a lot of leverage in taking the Miami game this week, and especially in small pools where we may not get it to week 15, you really want to consider a Miami pick. Now, let's just look at the teams being taken the most so far this week, and Minnesota is that team. Why? A couple of reasons. One, everyone's got Minnesota available to them. Very few people have taken Minnesota to this point. 25% of pools, of entries in pools right now on Minnesota. Chicago, 3 points. It's the Monday night game. I'm going to get into why that is significant in a second. But if you look across the board, not until week 17 would you even consider taking Minnesota again, and they're home against Green Bay. So this is why a lot of people are moving to the Minnesota pick. Tennessee is your next best option. And again, similar situation. They're a 4-point favorite, so even larger favorite than Minnesota, so you got to like that. And again, monitor the point spread as the week goes on. This may flip. Minnesota may go up to a 5-point favorite, and Carolina drop down to a 3-point favorite, and that's going to change your opinion on which team to take. But when we look at the rest of their weeks, Indianapolis, don't love it. They're at Miami, certainly not taking it. Houston at home, we don't love that. Seattle at home, not very good. At Houston, certainly not. Jacksonville, we don't really care for them. So, this is the reason that close to half the pool entries are taking Tennessee and Minnesota, because we don't have a lot of future value left on either of these teams. Now, again, if you have one of these strong options available to you, these are no locks, Tennessee and Minnesota. Obviously, nothing is a lock, but Dallas against Washington, you think should be pretty as close to a lock. Hey, 80+% lock. That's not a lock. They're going to lose this game 15 to 20% of the time, but I'll take my chances with Dallas this week as opposed to Tennessee or Minnesota if I have that option, and certainly Miami as well. Now, a lot of people still have Kansas City left, and they're in a similar situation here to Dallas and Miami. Not as strong a favorite as both of those teams, but can we take Kansas City if we have them available to us? All right, they're at Vegas. Don't love being on the road here, but a 9.5-point favorite, pretty strong, pretty solid. I think Kansas City, especially coming off that loss on Monday night, you have to like their chances in this game. Again, monitor where the lines go, but you see them at Green Bay in week 13. If you've got them available to you, again, same thing with Miami. You're going to have to make that determination. Is the second best team available to me this week better than the second best team available to me next week if I go with Kansas City this week or next? So you have to make that determination for yourself. And again, week 15, they look like a potential play at New England. All road games here for Kansas City that are strong. But and then back home in week 16 against Vegas. So small pool, I'm not even worried about week 16. If I get there, I'm not even worried about week 15. If I've got 10, 20, 25 entries left in a pool, we may not get that far. Plus, we're going to be hedging by this point. So strongly want to consider taking Kansas City. Detroit is the absolute same situation here as these other teams. If you do have them available to you, strong play this week. And then, week 14 at Chicago, and you've got them home for Denver. And Denver's playing better now. This 6.5 may not be 6.5. We'll see come week 15. So, injuries happen. That's why we don't want to look too far out into the future on a lot of these games. So just back to week 12, San Francisco, another team most likely you don't have, but I really like any of these teams in order to get off of Tennessee and Minnesota. Now, in my pool, I've actually, not that I have to, I've got Tennessee, Philly, and Minnesota. Those are like the three best teams I have available to me. We're going to fade Minnesota here on the Monday night game, and then we're going with Philly, which obviously not the greatest pick, but we're not getting to week 16. That's our estimation. Considering it's double picks from here on out, the likelihood of getting to week 16 is very slim. So I'm not going to be using Philly in the next few weeks. So in my unique type of pool, Philly here and being able to fade Minnesota, when it's double picks, 25% of most pools are going with Minnesota. But in my pool, 60 people have Minnesota available to them. I would estimate 40 to 45 will be on Minnesota, which means if we get a Minnesota loss, we're going to be either in the top 10 or really close to the top 10. So I think it's worth the risk for me here, taking Philly against a good Buffalo team. These are the chances you have to take, right? So ultimately, you're going to be taking chances at some point in this pool. You're taking a chance every week, obviously, but you're going to be having to pick the spot where you get to choose the risk that you're willing to take. So you have to choose that wisely. It's what we talk about from the beginning of the season. Just being contrarian for the sake of being contrarian is not smart. We want to be contrarian when it's smart. And if you've been smart enough to hold one of these top teams up until this point, well, now's the time to be contrarian with the best team on the board. So I love those scenarios when we have the chance to do it. We've seen it in previous weeks where I liked Buffalo last week. I kind of advised you guys, if you had Buffalo, to take them. Some people listened, some didn't, and they went with Washington. When you're in the small, when you're getting down to the nitty-gritty, you've got a chance to win, or at least increase your equity to the point where you can do some profitable hedging. And I wanted to get into hedging a little bit on this video. We'll do more and more as the weeks go on because that's going to be more opportunity for you guys to hedge. But when we're considering hedging, a couple of things to consider. One, you want to figure out how much equity you have in the pool. If there's 5 people left in the pool with a $10,000 pot, your equity is $2,000 on your entry. Now, we can't risk $2,000 on a hedge bet because we've got too many weeks left. If this was the last week of the season, then we can make that hedge bet all the way up to $2,000 because there's no more time left, right? So the factors that go into what we're going to be hedging is equity, time left in the pool, and the number of entrants left in your pool. All these things factor. The longer you wait, the more information you have, the better it is, and the more information you have towards your hedge, and you can make a more sound decision on your hedge. That reason being said, if you can wait for Sunday night games, the 4 o'clock game, or even better, the Monday night game, that's going to give you even more information as to where you stand in your pool. If you have Minnesota this week and you are looking to hedge and you have 5 people left in your pool, 3 people get eliminated, and it's just you and one other person on Minnesota on Monday night, your equity is now up to $5,000. That's going to change your hedge bet, right? So the number of weeks obviously changes it as well. So we don't want to be risking too much here with 7 weeks to go in the season, especially if we've got a lot of people left. We've got 100 people left in the pool. Even if you have a decent amount of equity, I would consider continuing to wait and hopefully getting ourselves to a point where hedging becomes a little bit easier in the fact that we can figure out the hedge amount. Now, also, when you're hedging, are you going to be hedging on the money line or are you going to hedge on the spread? I personally like to hedge the spread. So that means betting against the team that I take on the spread line. So in this case, this week, if we were hedging with Minnesota, then we'd want to bet the Bears on the spread at, let's say, +4 right now. And then the chances of a middle increase. So a middle, meaning I can win my Chicago bet as my hedge bet and yet still advance. Let's say Minnesota wins this game by 3. I'll win my hedge bet and I'll still advance in the pool. And now I'm plus money. I would make some money on this pool without having to win the pool. Now, again, you're taking some risk here because you could lose your hedge bet and advance in the pool, in which case now you're down money. You've just paid out some of your equity on your hedge bet. So what I like to do here is, let's say we've got 7 weeks left. We've got $2,000 in equity. If we divide that by the 7 weeks left by $2,000, that's $285 a week. If I were to bet $285 each week and I lost each week on my hedge bet, but I kept winning on the pick for my pool, I'm actually not doing anything for my hedge because I'm going to lose $285 this week. If I bet $285 next week, I lose that. I'm now doubled my losses. If I won that, all I did was cover my hedge from the previous week. If I lose 2 in a row and I bet $285 the following week, if I win that one and I get eliminated from my pool, I just lost $285, right? So just flat betting it each week is not getting us anywhere. So we need to incrementally increase our hedge in order for it to be profitable. and that's why you want to wait as long as you can in the season. So if you're going to start doing it now, you would only do so if you have a small number of people left in your pool so that you can increase the bets accordingly. And you're, of course, banking on the fact that people are going to get eliminated, which increases your equity, which means you can then increase the bet size regardless of what you've lost or, what your equity is this week. So for an example, in what we were talking about here, if we had 5 entries left, 2,000 in equity, let's say we started with a $100 hedge and we lost that hedge bet, but we advanced. Next week, we can make a $200 bet. And if no one has been eliminated from the pool, we still have 2,000 in equity. If we made it 3 weeks with no one eliminated in our pool, 5 people left, 2,000 in equity, we can increase that to 400. Now, ideally, people will be getting knocked out as you go, and the chances of you possibly catching a middle along the way increase. So there's a lot of ways to go about it. There's art and science to this, but you want to start with a low enough amount that you're not putting yourself in a position where you're going to lose money. We don't want to lose any money here. The hedge is meant to at least break us even, get our money back for the entry in the pool. Hopefully we catch some middles and we make even more money. And ultimately, you don't want to give away all the money that you would win if you ultimately win your pool. So I could get into more about hedging in the comments, so leave a comment down below. Let's head over and look to see who's going to win that 1-year subscription to a pro membership on the Sharp app. All right, let's pick that winner of the contest from last week. I was going to give away 1 year free of the Sharp app pro version to one of the commenters from last week, and we're going to do that now. So thank you all who commented. Some great comments from you guys. Of course, I always get questions, and I try to answer each and every one of you as far as your Survivor picks. But here we go. Let's get the winner, and the winner is Jacob Adams. Awesome, dude. So hit me up at Statsational in our Discord. There's a link to the Discord if you're not in our Discord here on this video. Shoot me a DM over there, and I will get you all set up with your free year of the Sharp app. So congratulations to you. All right, guys. Thank you again for being with me this week. Have a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy it with the family. Hopefully you're not stressing out too much about your pools. Leave a comment down below. I'd be happy to help you guys out as much as I possibly can. And again, I appreciate you all for commenting last week. Give me a subscribe and a like if you like these videos. And ultimately, check out the Sharp app. I think it's going to help you become a profitable sports bettor. Until next week, guys, let's keep scratching and surviving.